7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
To the Vegas Squares podcast. We are sitting here discussing how Chex Mix and erotica are one.
Only on the Vegas Squares podcast.
Yeah, you're welcome, America. Anyways, week 13 has all but finished. We've got one game left. The Monday night game between the Washington Redskins and the Eagles. So we are here to recap, as we do every week, not only the week that was in the NFL, but our picks in our season-long contest against each other. It is a full studio again. All three of us are here. Spike on my left, Token Tony on my right. How did our contest aside, how did your actual betting go this week?
My betting was better than my contest this week, for sure. Couldn't have gotten much worse, but I did pretty well on the afternoon picks, I thought, for our contest, so made a little cheddar.
Yeah, I did fine on the betting. My problem today was the wife got me to hang up Christmas lights during the early morning games, and when I was just about finished, I just missed that last rung on the bottom of the ladder, and instead of landing on my feet, I landed on my rib cage. So that
would have been good for YouTube.
I was not fun.
Clark Griswold over here.
Yeah, not fun to be around for a couple hours today, especially during the Patriots game and that slow start they had. But no, otherwise it was a fine day, made some money, and that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I haven't done a deep dive into our picks or my picks specifically, but I went 8-2 betting today, so hopefully that translates because I can't remember exactly what I picked, even though you sent me the Excel file. I didn't actually keep up with it as much.
I know if Spike would have went with his normal bold prediction, at least two quarterbacks would have came through for that.
Yeah, I know. And you know what the sick thing was? When I made my bold prediction, Aaron said, "Do you have a backup?" And I said, "No." But I actually kind of thought of one as you guys were saying, well, not 900 yards, maybe 950. I was like, okay, now I have a backup in mind in case it... And, of course, my backup would have been...
The 150 under.
A head coach gets fired.
Oh.
I would have asked for an extension to go until at least kickoff on the next Sunday's games because, you know, typically those head coaches...
I would have given you an extension to today, being Monday, before the kickoff tonight. Which you would have got that anyways.
Yeah, no, it would have hit. I don't know if I would have taken it for just the one extra
I
day.
would have given him until...
Yeah.
But how ironic is that? I mean, Aaron Rodgers turns 35, and for his birthday, his coach that he has been feuding with, or rifting with, depending on what word you'd like to use, came true. He got a wish. Wish came true.
Yeah. Well, good for him. It's about time. I mean, I know that...
Is that Will Wheaton?
Yeah, he's a season ticket holder for the Kings.
I know, but it was just random. Will Wheaton. Cool Whip. I just don't know what they're going to bring in. I mean, like Sean McVay's don't grow on trees. They're going to have to bring in some offensive mastermind because apparently Mike McCarthy's offense was way too vanilla for the GOAT, Aaron Rodgers. I mean, at what point... And again, we obviously, by now, you know that the Packers lost at home to the Cardinals. But at what point do we start blaming him?
I mean, I think some blame has to be on him.
I watched him underthrow, overthrow, throw off his back foot, all the typical things that an average quarterback... I mean, Josh Allen looked better than he did this weekend.
And every quarterback is going to have bad games, but Aaron Rodgers...
I feel like I've seen that a lot this year. Not to keep interrupting you, but
it's fine. And
especially against crappy teams, though. I mean, this week the Cardinals, early in the year against San Francisco, even.
But that's the thing.
What do you think, Tony?
Good quarterbacks.
Let's interrupt Spike one more time.
Amazing quarterbacks, Hall of Fame GOAT candidate quarterbacks can't have losing seasons, and Rodgers has had multiple. So, I think at some point. yes, some of the blame has to go on him, but I mean, Mike McCarthy, had to open up the rank. Like, you can't have a quarterback as good as Aaron Rodgers and only make it to the Super Bowl once. That's just fucking Eli Manning's been twice as many times as Aaron Rodgers.
I mean, the Super Bowl comparisons, you can sit there and make the Dan Marino argument to defend Aaron Rodgers. The situation is though, like you said, like losing seasons, even in a season where things may be going tumultuous, for lack of a better word, you don't lose to Arizona. You don't lose to a team like Arizona at home if you're the kind of quarterback that everyone has been touting you to be. Tom Brady doesn't lose this game.
No, of course not.
Ben Roethlisberger doesn't lose this game.
Tom Brady on one leg doesn't even lose this game, I don't think.
Well, let's not get ridiculous. But my point being is that John Elway doesn't find a way to lose a game to a team of this quality. And I'm not trying to shit on the Cardinals. But at the same time, I mean,
Cardinals kind of hurt themselves this week by winning.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is I don't think these teams are tanking. And like I told you, like we said last podcast, there's one offensive person who's probably going to be drafted in the top 10 this year that's worth it, and that's Justin Herbert, the quarterback. Arizona doesn't need that. Arizona's got Rosen. So at least at this point, they believe that that's who they're going with. So they're not targeting Herbert in this next year's draft. So
no, but having the better draft pick is always beneficial. Even if you don't use it, you trade down.
Sure, I understand. But I mean, like I said, at this point, also the situation is coach like Steve Wilkes is going to continue fighting. He's not going to sit there and I believe the coach. Well, I don't know what to believe anymore, because I believe that probably Kyle Shanahan and John Gruden were tanking, but at the same time, they've won a few games too. So you never quite know. Like I always said, coaches in front offices may be tanking, but players themselves, the talent's going to get them a couple wins, unless you're the 2008 Lions.
2008 Lions, yeah, or the 2017 Browns.
Yep, or the expansion Buccaneers. I think they lost like 27 games in a row or something to start their franchise. Anyways, anything interesting caught your eye this weekend? I know we're going to get into every single game, talk about them, but anything just straight up that you wanted to kind of mention?
In my mind, there was a lot of poor performances on offense, even in some games on both sides on both teams.
Yeah, tough day for quarterbacks. I mean, Matt Ryan, 131 yards.
And he had more passing yards than Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, but I mean, I think Lamar Jackson's going to be 2 of 2 in passing yards in each of his matchups. I actually thought the Bengals, all things considered, played pretty well today, even though they did not cover the spread and did lose by 2 touchdowns. For everything that's gone on with them, they actually looked halfway decent. It's unfortunate because they're probably eliminated at this point.
Yeah, Boyd definitely had a few key plays in that one, and A.J. Green getting hurt in that one definitely hurt. I
would say, not to get too far ahead of myself, but Andy Dalton's days may be numbered. I thought Jeff Driscoll looked pretty decent in this game. Anything, Spike, while you were holding on to your ribcage? The thing that stood out to me, and I don't know if you guys saw this, and eventually it didn't really matter, but it was 23-16 in the Rams game with about 3.5 minutes left. Todd Gurley breaks one wide open, and he stopped again, short of the goal line.
Yeah, he doesn't care about point spreads. He doesn't care about your fantasy team.
This one I would disagree with his decision to do it, because it's not spreads or fantasy or anything. It was a pretty close game. Still a decent amount of time left. If they don't, Detroit still had 2 timeouts and the 2-minute warning at that point. I don't agree with his decision. It ended up working out because I think 2 plays later he did punch it in. But
yeah, he did.
I was shocked at his decision at this time. The other time, the Packers couldn't stop the clock. I get that one. This one, there was 2 timeouts and a 2-minute warning left. Detroit still could have stopped the clock and stopped them on the a goal line stand and had a chance to still tie the game. So that one was a little bit more of a head scratcher to me.
I think he knew that they were going to score anyhow, whether it be a field goal or a touchdown. They just wanted to eat up some more of the time on the clock and give Detroit a slimmer shot of winning.
I think Detroit stepping on the field gave them a slim shot of winning. Anyways, all right, let's just start with the games. Get into it. Actually, before we start with the games, let's look at the contest. Oh, what a save!
Yeah. So going into this week, I am in dead last place with 19 points. Aaron in second place at 30, and Token Tony currently has the lead at 34 points.
Well, his fanfare. Here we go. All right.
That's all.
That's all for right now. You're going to save it all for the end of the podcast?
I am previewing where we're starting the week. So that way we can go through the picks and I can tell everybody how we did.
The gap closes for sure.
And then at the end we'll go over where we're at. Minus the Monday night game, obviously the Monday night game.
Let's remind everybody of our Monday night picks.
So for Monday night, don't forget we had special guest picker Desiree, the producer, in here. Mm-hmm. She took under the total at 45. Token faded that, going over at 45. And Aaron and I are both taking the Skins plus 6 points. Actually, has that line moved? I haven't even looked yet.
I will refresh.
Last I saw it was 6, but
still 6. Total still 45. Yep.
Okay.
So, all right. Well, anything to talk about the Monday night game? I still think there's a shot that Nick Foles sees action in this game.
I would not be too surprised if that were to happen.
I think if Washington gets ahead or even gets out to a pretty comfortable lead, Nick Foles sees action for one of two reasons. One, to see if maybe that's the quarterback going forward, or two, to showcase him, hopefully offering him up the ability to fetch value on the open market this offseason as far as a trade.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say, like, essentially doing him a favor to showcase his talents to get a big contract.
I think he just re-signed.
Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, that's why I was kind of confused. But I think you're right. I think this is getting to show that in games like this, he can still compete, that he's still a good enough quarterback, and that Philly will try to move him in the offseason.
Yeah, I think at this point, I mean, he could fetch a fourth or fifth. So, and who knows what that fourth or fifth could turn into. All right, let's break down the games that happened Sunday. Let's start with the Ravens and the Falcons. Lamar Jackson won 3 straight at this point. He looks every bit of capable of leading this team to the playoffs in a very unconventional way, which we've seen from a lot of quarterbacks who aren't the greatest of skill passers in their careers. First question is, watching Lamar Jackson play, who does he remind you of? I mean, you have so many different comparisons. Obviously, one of them's even on his team right now. That's RG3. But, he's got the Mike Vick vibe to it, maybe without the arm strength. I mean, who does he look like to you when he plays?
I was going to say Mike Vick, just minus the arm strength for sure. But, I mean, what really reminds me of him, if he does take a sack, he doesn't drop back even further. He goes full force into the line and tries to not take a huge loss as compared to other quarterbacks in the league.
I was going to say he reminds me of going old school Fran Tarkington, but that's only because I didn't want to compare him to yet another black quarterback.
Fair enough.
But no, I think you're right. I think the Michael Vick comparisons minus the arm strength are pretty accurate. The question is whether or not he's going to be developed not only the strength but just slightly better accuracy. Winning the game is fine, but going 12 of 21, those types of games, throwing the ball, and I know last week he was at about 50% completion percentage as well. Those aren't the type of statistics that are going to let you keep a starting job unless the team is carrying you in other ways and the team is still winning.
One thing that he does that some others have a little problem with when he's throwing the incomplete passes or whatever, he's making sure that the defenders aren't in the area to make a play on it, even get a finger on it. So I'll give him kudos for that most of the time. So
yeah, and that's fine.
All right, I'll split the difference. I'll say he reminds me of a half-white, half-black quarterback that is no longer in the league. And that's Colin Kaepernick. That's what he reminds me of. His running skill and his ability are second to none in the RPO. He's got a great defense on the other side of the ball in the Ravens D. And he's got decent weapons, which, ironically, he also has Michael Crabtree, who can make plays when he needs to dump the ball off. For short yardage situations. So he reminds me exactly, this team reminds me almost exactly of those 49er teams that were, under Jim Harbaugh. So
The other Harbaugh.
the other Harbaugh, correct? Yeah, I didn't think about that either. So a lot of comparisons there.
Yeah.
The Ravens won 26-16, covering as 2.5-point dogs. Well, I don't remember the total in this game, but
48.5.
so it stayed under. As I was gonna say, I know it stayed under, but I think it was. I was going to say it was close to 50, so stayed under the 48.5. Falcons lose again at home, debunking my whole, I guess my whole description of the game the other day when I previewed it, saying that how good they were at home. They looked atrocious.
Yeah, you're right about that. I mean, even the last 6 that they put up towards the end, they struggled to even get on the board and struggled moving forward to just even move the ball forward. I mean, Matt Ryan didn't turn the ball over through the air, but he took 3 crucial sacks. And
I mean, I didn't watch this game actually on a channel. I watched it on Red Zone, and I don't think I saw the Falcons' offense at any point.
Yeah,
It seemed to be Baltimore.
They had 165 total yards of offense in this game. That's just never going to be good enough in this league.
No, that's true. And Baltimore just, one back goes down, Alex Collins, next back stands up. Kenneth Dixon, I mean, averaging 4.6 yards. He also had an imprint on the offense. He was supposed to be the feature back this year. Actually went down in early this year and just came back off of IR. So now they've got actually 3 guys in the backfield with Dixon, Edwards, and obviously Jackson, who, and don't forget Ty Montgomery, who can combine for a decent rushing attack at any point in time. I mean, I know your 2-quarterback system doesn't really work, but maybe a triple option, running back system, not the actual triple option, but
split dual back.
3 good options back there, plus a pretty decent quarterback. I'd say if this defense continues to play lights out like it has been this year, and the offense does, just enough to be dangerous, I think we're seeing Baltimore as a
Serious contender, yeah.
yeah, a pretty decent contender. I know Spike loves that word when I use it coupled with Baltimore. So how do we do this one?
Well, Desiree bricked it. She took over the total at 48.5.
Great start.
We were consensus Baltimore plus 2.5, moving our record thus far on consensus picks to 5-4.
All right, we're above 500.
Nice. Moving on up.
Only problem is we're still paying the juice on that.
Yeah, and we also had another consensus pick this week too, which we'll get to later.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Broncos and Bengals. Broncos won 24-10, covering as 5-point road dogs. Every time I say that, I always think of. Do you ever watch wrestling growing up?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You ever think of Degeneration X, the Road Dog?
Yeah.
You remember the Road Dog?
I
Degeneration
remember the road dog, yeah.
So every time I think of 5-point road dog, I think, what was his old saying? I forget. Anyways, not important. Anyways, Case Keenum, another solid 151 yards, 1 touchdown, no picks, but he didn't need to do much because Philip Lindsay, who, if Saquon Barkley didn't exist, probably might be Offensive Rookie of the Year this year. Nevertheless, Philip Lindsay, 157 yards, 2 touchdowns, pretty much was the entire game at this point for both sides of the ball. But like I said, Jeff Driscoll, 236 and a touchdown, actually fired a pretty beautiful ball to Cody Core. That's the positive I took out of this for the Cincinnati Bengals. But at this point in time, they're just looking, in my opinion, to evaluate talent. My big question would be, with Mike McCarthy getting fired, we talked about that. Marvin Lewis has 1 year left on this 2-year what the fuck deal he signed after retiring. Maybe they were just using Marvin Lewis to pace themselves until the next appropriate coach came. So I think at this point, Cincinnati at 5-7. I know that sounds crazy, but I think they've fallen too far out, and they're evaluating talent at this point, seeing what they got in Driscoll, and seeing if they need to look to the draft to fill needs. AJ Green came back and then immediately went back out. So at this point in time, it's not a complete overhaul, but they're definitely looking at pieces, what to keep and what to get rid of. And Denver now, what are they, 6-6?
6-6,
still in it at this point.
Yeah, they started off all right and then went through a tough slump, and then now they're back to almost what they
I mean, they're the epitome of average. They're 6-6 on the year, 3-3 on the road, 3-3 at home.
Yeah.
They've beaten some teams they weren't supposed to. They've lost to some teams that they weren't supposed to as well, like the Jets.
Yeah.
So, and they actually have a pretty favorable schedule going down the road. I mean, they go to San Francisco.
That's a winnable game.
They play at home against Cleveland
It's winnable.
on a Thursday, and they go to Oakland. So there's a chance they could be going into Week 17, 9-6,
Yeah.
to play the Chargers.
Oof.
And that could be one of those teams, whoever comes out with the win might be in the playoffs. The other one might be going to off-season.
No, Chargers are definitively in the playoffs, but I think that actually is great for Denver because Chargers should have the 5 seed locked up because they're not going to pass Kansas City at this point. Mm-hmm. So if the Chargers have the 5 seed locked up,
They got one. They still got a game against Kansas. I don't. Not saying you're wrong, but I mean the Chargers showed last night that they could definitely hang with the elitists in the AFC. My thing is I would, if you told me that the AFC West would have potentially produced or could produce at the end of the season 3 playoff teams, I wouldn't have believed you.
no,
I wouldn't have either.
So obviously, I don't want to speak prematurely. They are still 6-6.
I actually thought the winner of the division would be 9-7. And that's,
I actually thought the Chargers would win this division. I didn't think the Chiefs would. I mean, I wasn't sure about Mahomes, but I mean, he's obviously proven me wrong. I'm not afraid to admit that.
Well, we'll say bold prediction for next year: the Chiefs will not win this division.
Okay, hold your horses.
I think that could be a logical, bold prediction. I mean,
I'm already
I'll say
calling
bold prediction next year. Pat Mahomes passes for less touchdowns than he does this year.
Yeah, no,
That fucker's already got 40 something.
no. Whatever the Chiefs'
What's the
futures
record?
total
53?
is,
What did Peyton Manning put up? I know
50. Yeah, I think 53. That
because
sounds
I know
right.
Tom put up 50.
Yeah, and then Manning had actually his 51st shouldn't have counted. There should have been a penalty on the play that they didn't call, and they just gave it to him. But
Calm down.
he got 53 anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Yeah,
But
Peyton Manning had 55.
55.
55, okay.
Yeah.
So
Brady's got
Mahomes,
50.
Mahomes has like 41, I think, and he has 4 games left.
Yep.
So what's that? 14. It's an average of what? 3.5 per game.
Think he can do it now that he has no running game?
I don't know, Spencer. We'll talk about it. Spencer Ware had a decent game yesterday. Let's not get too far off of this game. Where are we at? Broncos Bengals. How'd we do?
So
Went from Broncos Bengals all the way to the Kansas City Chiefs running game. That's how bad this game was to talk about.
yeah, so the producer and Aaron both took Cincinnati plus the 5.
Twinks.
That's a brick. Token took over 44.5.
That's a bird.
That's a brick. I had Denver minus the 5.
Fuck face hit it.
Bink.
God, this is gonna be. This is gonna be really annoying.
Hey, Spike, what's that? Turn off this mic.
I'm just gonna throw his Chex Mix out the window.
Oh no, it's my dinner.
All right,
Feed it to the squirrels.
let's move forward to the Rams and the Lions. 30-16, the Rams covered as I believe they were 10-point favorites.
Yep.
Yes.
Total on this game was
55.
55, which I think I took the over because I had a feeling the Lions could put up points. God, what the fuck was I thinking? Token, your Lions. Or I'm sorry, Timmy Hose. Your Lions.
Yeah. Moving on to what we need on this offseason coming up, and there's a lot of needs for sure.
Quarterback.
I got a question.
Quarterback's
Yeah.
definitely probably one of them.
They won't do it, but they need to do quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, even if we draft one 4th round or something as a...
You want to make a bold prediction? Does Matt Patricia get fired this year?
Ooh.
I can actually see this one because...
No. That's not a bold... No. Does Matt Patricia get fired this year?
No, I would say no, but I will not be surprised.
Bold predictions aren't the... It could go either way. No,
I know.
I'm asking you a question.
I'm saying no, but I would not be shocked if it happened.
I was just thinking, if they went 4-12, and all the stuff that happened in the offseason with the
I think that would
sexual
be.
assault
I
allegations.
think that would be the bigger part of it.
That wasn't me. I don't know why you're looking.
It was just weird. Anyways, how do we do on this one?
This was, let's see, not a consensus at all. The producer took the Rams minus the 10. Token took under the 55, while Aaron took over 55. Mm-hmm. And my lock of the week of the Rams money line for 3 points.
God, this is getting bad. I think this is a classic case of the Rams. Well, when they don't perform their best, they still have enough talent on this team to get it done. Even though they lost to the Saints, are they the best team in the NFC?
The Rams?
Yeah. I don't want to be prison of the moment because obviously Dallas beat
I'm going to say no.
New Orleans, but
I'm going to say no.
Which conference is more wide open, the AFC or the NFC?
NFC.
Think so?
I would agree.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I don't know.
I mean, if we want to look at standings, we can kind of say, based on number of divisions that are.
I would say NFC is more wide open, and AFC, I think it's realistically down to 3, maybe 4 teams.
You mean for the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Ooh, I don't know if I believe that. I would say the NFC is probably down to 2 teams for the Super Bowl, in my opinion. New Orleans and Los Angeles.
I wouldn't count the Bears yet. I wouldn't count out even the Cowboys right now, I mean.
So you think the Cowboys, the 4-seed Cowboys...
No, I'm not going to say the Cowboys.
Okay, well, let me finish. You think the 4-seed Cowboys are more of a Super Bowl contender than the Pittsburgh Steelers?
No.
Okay.
Well, that was one of my 3 teams out of the AFC.
Do you think the 3-seed Chicago Bears are better than the 3-seed Houston Texans?
Yes.
Wow, you're drunk.
I'm just a kid.
All right, anyways, like I said, not a lot to talk about in this one either. The fucking Lions stink. I'm actually more embarrassed that on my William Hill account there's an open ticket for the Lions to win the division because he asked me to do it when he was out of town.
Ooh.
So every time I look at open tickets, there's the Lions at 100-1 to win the division or whatever the fuck it was.
Yeah, I already gave you the cash for it.
I'm not saying that it wasn't already paid off. My point being is that it's on there. Like it's.
Hey, it was worth the $100 now.
Yeah, to have it on there.
Just because it's on your William Hill.
All right, this next one's really gonna hurt. Cardinals Packers.
Yeah, I was wondering when we were getting to this. Yeah, baby.
Like ripping a Band-Aid off.
Let's just do it. Cardinals win 20-17 in Lambeau. Do you know the last time they won in Lambeau? They were the Chicago Cardinals.
I was going to say, wasn't it during the Truman administration?
It was 1939. So
wow.
What was that? Was that Truman? That was the end of the Depression. So it was the high point.
It might
high point for the Cardinals, but
it might have been FDR.
Yeah.
Yeah, FDR was the end of the Depression, right?
Yeah.
Or was he the beginning of World War?
Both.
Well, yeah, because FDR
served
was in
4
for 16 years.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, he served 4 terms.
That rat bastard. I got no beef against him. Anyways,
Social Security.
Happy birthday, Aaron Rodgers. You got your wish. McCarthy's gone. And Josh Rosen, a winning quarterback, 149 yards.
With 11 of 26 passing.
Yep.
Hoorah. No touchdowns, no picks.
He still didn't look horrible except for his completion percentage.
He's another guy getting it done. I mean, who would have taken Josh Rosen, 11 of 26 for 149 yards, no touchdowns, no picks, and David
cover.
Johnson, 69 yards on the ground,
For the
72 total, and they win the game.
Yeah.
I want to have.
That's finding a way to get it done. And like I said, we talked about it early in the podcast, but I think it's, and I'm not trying to be prisoner of the moment. I really am not. I've never believed the hype. We were talking about the missing passes. I've seen that all year this year. I've seen receivers diving for passes that should have hit them in the chest. Aaron Rodgers to me is not on the level of the greatest of all time.
No, definitively not. And the thing, even when, prior to this season, when they were having amazing runs and Super Bowl runs, he always struck me as a guy that didn't have the touch of a Brady or like he always tried to throw the ball through his receivers, and they would just have to brace themselves and catch it.
Kind of like Stafford does, yeah.
Yeah, but
Didn't he break somebody's finger one time?
He might have.
Probably.
I thought he broke Randall Cobb's finger one time.
Hey, he admitted that he likes the ball overinflated to the point where it's like a fucking brick. So I can't imagine that's like nice to catch.
Do you remember when that happened? When the whole Brady deflate game thing was going, Brady got 4 games. Rodgers comes out on the radio, I think it was on television. He's like, I like my balls inflated over the limit. And everybody's just like,
Meh.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm like, are you fucking serious?
Yeah. There was video of, I think it was a week 1 game or a preseason game where they had the ball in front of like a space heater to try to overinflate it. And it was on the sideline. The players were messing with the ball on the sideline, and the NFL just said, you can't do that.
Yeah.
No further suspensions, no fines, no nothings.
Yeah.
All right,
We'll slap on that.
I've put it off long enough. How'd we do?
Okay, I'm gonna take a swig of my Diet Dr. Pepper here and prepare.
I rub my nuts on your Chex Mix.
So, the producer took Green Bay minus 13. Did not work. Token also took Green Bay minus the 13, but as a blind bet, so he didn't lose anything for that. I had Arizona plus the 13.
In fairness, I will put a disclaimer. I said if I was going to take a pick, I was taking Arizona. I listened to the podcast,
Yes.
but that's not what I took.
Nope. No, you decided for your lock of the week for 3 points. You wanted Green Bay on the money line.
It did not work out.
No, it did not.
Fuck you, AR-12.
Minus 3 for you.
Did not work. All right, well, shit happens. Let's move to Bills and Dolphins. Not really much to say on this one. Not really much to say on a lot of these games. Dolphins get to 6-6. Pretty good home record. Abysmal road record. They are 5-1 at home at this point. The unfortunate thing for them is there's only 2 more home games for the rest of their stretch. They were 21-17 winners. I know that I manipulated this line. It did not work out for me, but it would have covered the actual 3.5 that it was. And how did we do?
So this, let's see. The producer took Buffalo plus a 3.5 as her blind bet. So she didn't lose anything on that one. I took Buffalo plus the 3.5 as a regular, so I actually lost a point on this one. Aaron put the line to Miami minus 9.5. So yeah, that didn't work. And Token decided to go over the total of 40. So
Came close.
So we all break.
yeah, this was not a good game for any of us.
I would have covered if I just would have said Miami minus the points instead of Miami minus whatever.
Yep.
What an asshole.
Yep.
You did it to
Alright.
yourself.
Can any of you guys tell me who the leading rusher was in this game? Without looking?
Josh Allen?
It was.
Oh, shit.
I had to look.
9 carries, 135 yards.
Wow. He's been doing that a lot. Maybe not leading the team in rushing, but he has been putting up yards in bunches on his legs.
I'd say he actually had a decent game. 231, 2 touchdowns, and 135 yards on the ground.
Yeah, the 2 picks weren't great, but, rookie quarterback is going to throw interceptions. That's just what's going to happen.
Tannehill, the winning quarterback, threw for under 150.
Yeah, I fucking know.
Hey, we have to have something to pick on you about. You had a good week.
Yeah. Yeah, your typical bold prediction that you didn't take would have came in at least twice, if not 3 times.
Yep.
All right. Bears and Giants.
Stuck with that.
Token's Super Bowl pick for the NFC goes in and faces the 3-8 Giants, who really have nothing to play for, according to Spike. Walk in there and get beat in overtime after a valiant effort to get back in the game.
Well, no, I haven't said that New York has nothing to play for. I've said that Eli is playing for his job.
That's exactly what you play.
I've said Eli is playing for his job. That's about the bottom line of this.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So you're talking about playing for his job. Eli's what, 36, 37?
I don't know.
Something along those lines?
Sounds right.
Okay.
Drafted in 04, so
37.
yeah.
37.
About to be 38.
If Eli Manning is not the starting quarterback in the Giants' opening day roster, my thought is he just retires. I don't think he has the hunger and the fire like his brother. He's got the 2
Sit on the
rings.
bench.
He wasn't chasing a second ring. Because that was always my thing with Peyton. It's like, oh, Peyton's the greatest of all time. It's like, why did he didn't even have the most rings in his family?
Well,
And he finally, equalized.
yeah, I heard somebody on the radio maybe about 3-4 weeks ago that was talking about Tom Coughlin in Jacksonville wouldn't pursue Eli Manning if he were a free agent. And Jacksonville not only, obviously they have quarterback questions with Blake Bortles getting benched, but Coughlin won 2 Super Bowls with Eli, and he wouldn't take Eli at this point. So no, I think the only contracts Eli would get would be, backup contracts or teams that are like the Giants this year, pretty much going nowhere.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I can't think of a team that has
definitely
quarterback problems that hasn't at least addressed them. In the last... I mean, who has a quarterback problem other than Jacksonville?
I mean,
Tampa will.
Tampa
but maybe
definitely-
not if Jameis Winston keeps, making it hard for the front office to get rid of him.
True.
Really, you laughed at that, making it hard.
Yeah. What are you going to do? I mean, maybe Cincinnati if they want to move on from Dalton, but they're not convinced that Driscoll's the answer.
God, Dalton, move on from Dalton to Eli Manning. Oh my God, I get what you're saying. Yeah, no, it's just yikes. All right, well, okay. Nevertheless, this game was 30-27, and you did say that in the podcast. That's the only reason I brought it up.
Did I?
Yeah.
Well, whatever.
Anyways, Bears fall to 8-4, which really was no harm to them because the rest of the division lost as well. Giants go to 4-8. Many people, the storyline from this one is whether or not Odell Beckham Jr.
should be the starting quarterback.
Well, should be the starting quarterback, or gave as much effort on that onside kick as he should have, which I thought he was fine. He actually had a good comment or a good quote. He said, "Even though I'm one of the best in the world, sometimes people make better plays than I do." I mean, that's kind of a very humbling quote.
Yeah.
Sometimes the best in the world don't always come out on top, even if it's as simple as just one play. So actually, for as much flack as a lot of people give Odell Beckham Jr., I actually thought that was a pretty humbling quote. Nevertheless, Giants covered as 3.5-point dogs. And the total in this one, I believe, went over?
Over, yeah. It was 44, and the only reason I know that is because the producer picked under.
All right. So how else did we do?
Token and I were on the same side of this one. We thought the Bears minus a 3.5 was a good pick.
Swing and a miss!
That was obviously stupid. Aaron got the point on this one. Giants plus the 3.5.
And I listened to the podcast, and I even said, I'm like, I like the money line, but I don't know if I had the stones to do it. Should have done it.
What was the money line on this one? I don't have the
it
note
was like
here.
plus 230 or plus 185 or something like that.
Okay,
Yeah,
so you would have
it was-
gotten the extra point for it.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, otherwise I wouldn't take the money line. Yeah, I mean, like I said, not much to say. Saquon had a good game. OBJ had a good game. He's put himself in the running for starting quarterback going in the future.
He's getting paid enough where he should be.
Yeah, it's true. He's getting paid like a quarterback. Chase Daniel didn't have a terrible game. I don't know if you guys saw the last drive. The craziest thing. I don't know if I've ever seen it before in my life. The last drive the Bears had to tie the game up to send it into overtime. They fumbled 3 times and got it back all 3 times.
I did see that. Yeah.
I did not see that. That is pretty spectacular.
And you know what the best part is? 2 times they fumbled on 3rd down to create 4th down and 10 or more.
Yeah.
Like, how crazy is that?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then they converted. Yeah.
And they converted both of them. So anyways, yes, the Giants winners, 30-27. Moving on to the Buccaneers and Panthers. Buccaneers with a win, 24-17, getting them to 5-7. Which, if they keep playing like they are, they may be actually finishing 2nd place in this division. The Panthers cannot seem to eat a W, as Jameis Winston likes to say. Cam Newton, 300 yards, 2 touchdowns, but 4 interceptions.
If we told you at the beginning of the game that one of the quarterbacks in this game would throw 4 interceptions and the other one would throw 0, would you have picked Cam Newton to be the one to throw the 4 picks?
No, I wouldn't.
No, I'd have picked Ryan Fitzpatrick. Nevertheless, Bucks go to 5-7, Panthers go to 6-6, and I believe they have lost 4 in a row at this point, putting them in a very cloudy spot in the NFL playoff standings.
I have them as right now projected as the 8th seed and out of the playoffs.
Correct,
Yeah.
and I believe we talked about the Panthers being one of the teams that has a tough schedule because I believe they still have to play the Saints twice.
Oof.
I'm looking up their schedule right now. I believe week 15 and 17 they play the Saints. Yep.
Yep. They have the Browns, the Saints, Falcons, and then the Saints again.
Yep. So if they lose to the Saints even once, I don't think 9-7 is going to get them there into the playoffs. So
No.
they've got to almost run the table at 10-6. But you never know. That's the funny thing about it.
Yeah, speaking of running the table, we'll get to it in the afternoon games, but I am no longer convinced about one of my picks for the Super Bowl. I may be changing away.
Well, we know it's not the Patriots.
I
I still don't think it's the Patriots. All right, anyways. Buccaneers covered as a 3-point dog by winning. And let me just save him because I know he's going to get super excited. He picked the Bucs to win. But how else did we do?
Yes, I did. Not only did I pick the Bucks money line, but I actually took it as a blind bet, so I got 2 points for the blind bet. Blind bet plus the bonus point for taking.
They were dead 150 dogs,
They were
too.
right on the 150 line. It was beautiful. Desiree took under the total, 53.5.
That was good.
That worked out. Aaron was with me on the Bucks, but you had them +3.
Mm-hmm.
And Token with the brick, Carolina -3.
Zoinks. Christian McCaffrey, another big game. 106 yards on the ground on just 10 carries. Let's move on to a game that
Was very exciting.
I believe I nailed this one, and I didn't nail a lot this week in our bet as far as the picks we had, but Colts and
I
Jaguars.
knew that's where you were going.
It was a very exciting game for only being 6-0. And I believe my exact words were, there was going to be a tremendous outpouring of money toward the Colts. And actually, I looked at the numbers.
Oh, yeah. I saw on ESPN, like, the top 3 teams that had the money on them. Colts were one. I think the Steelers were another. And
The Westgate Las Vegas had 94% of the action on Indianapolis.
Holy shit.
I know.
Covers has, in total, with all the everything that came in, 63% on Indy.
Now, is that, when you say everything, is that money lines as well? Because a lot of the action that came in was Jacksonville money line.
This, I think, is just... No, this is against the spread. Money, I don't have their money line money that came in.
Nevertheless, the Jacksonville Jaguars covered as, 4-point dogs. And it obviously came in under the total. Unless the total was 5.5.
I actually got this game half right because one of the things I said is I would be shocked if Jacksonville put up double digit
You should have made that your bold prediction. Because it would have been right and they still won. How'd we do?
So we had both the producer and Token who took Indy -4. And, yeah.
You can't win if you score 0.
That is...
Actually, I think Indy almost scored -4.
Aaron actually taking the Jacksonville Jaguars money line, +180, getting the extra point on that one. And I took under the total of 47. I was, like I said, half right. I expected Indy to score, probably 3 touchdowns, but I didn't think Jacksonville would help them out at all. The under, that was
Wasn't even a sweat.
never a sweat.
Jesus.
Never in doubt.
And, yeah, that's crazy. I mean, Andrew Luck, 248, no touchdowns in the pick, ending his streak of throwing for 3 touchdowns, which I believe we'll get to later on in the podcast. Cody Kessler threw for 150 yards. Oh, you know what? It's crazy to think, for as much as the rules and the gameplay is delegated toward the offense, we still have teams and quarterbacks putting up these kind of performances.
And winning.
And winning.
And
winning is the craziest part of it. But, I mean, this just goes to show how important having a good quarterback is in this league. Mm-hmm. And how you can't win consistently with quarterbacks that are only going to put up 150 yards.
And because even the top defenses are going to have off days. Like,
Right.
Jacksonville's defense had a great day, but they haven't had a great year.
No, not at all. But
Patriots' defense have had great years, have had average weeks as well, but they've had a good quarterback. You're right. I mean, I agree with you. You have to have a good quarterback in this league.
and that's the flip side of that is good quarterbacks are so rare that giving one up, letting one walk in free agency, whatever the case may be, is just such a dangerous thing because you don't know if you're going to be able to replace that kind of production.
And that's always the big question is we talk about Stafford. Maybe Stafford in a different system could shine.
Good.
But how do you think Detroit would feel if they actually traded Matt Stafford to
The fan
Wherever.
base would probably not like it. Me as a single fan would probably like it.
You guys cannot still be like in love with Matt Stafford as Detroit Lions fans.
I've never really been in love with Stafford.
And the thing is, I'm not talking about. See, you always look at a personal level. I'm talking about
fan base. Yes, I would agree with that statement.
But the thing is I look at it from twofold. One, I say, yeah, you got to get rid of him. But the second thing is this is the most relevant Detroit football's been in what 40 years
60
since
probably.
Bobby Lane.
That's 60 years. Yeah,
Was that 60 years? Okay, I thought
yeah,
it was the 70s.
mid 50s.
Okay, so this is the most relevant. Even during Barry Sanders' years, this is the most relevant you guys have been. You've never been to an NFC title game, correct?
Not since expanding the Super Bowl. Or no, we went to 1991.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we beat the Cowboys in the divisional round and then lost to the Redskins in the conference game.
Fair enough. All right, so let's look at Indianapolis. They now fall to 6-6, which puts them in the 8th seed behind Miami and Baltimore for that final playoff spot. It kind of hurts them in the sense of, you really shouldn't be losing games to 3-8 teams, especially a division game, especially a conference game, when now those kind of tiebreakers are going to matter more than ever. So, did we talk about how we did in this one? We did.
Yeah, and that I mean, it's just really not a good look for Indy, especially if they're trying to prove that Andrew Luck is back, that they're trying to prove that they're contenders in this division. To get shut out by the bottom dwellers in the division is just that's just terrible.
Yeah, I would say you're right.
Yeah, Eric Ebron in this game still looked decent, but not great. I mean, 10 catches for 81 yards, but he did have, I believe, like 4 drop passes that were very catchable.
Well, they handed him off a ball and he fumbled it.
Yeah.
So that didn't work out. Jalen Ramsey, I'm sure he'll start running his mouth again this week.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So he's got chirping chips. Browns Texans.
Ugh.
Texans 29-13 winners. The Browns did virtually nothing except for the fact that Baker Mayfield did throw for almost 400 yards.
Yeah.
I think he led the day in passing, didn't he? I haven't.
God damn it!
I haven't looked at the Sunday night game. But,
Let's see, 397.
No, he did not.
Somebody threw for Nick Mullins.
Yes.
oh, did he?
Yeah.
Another garbage time quarterback. But again, most of his was in garbage time as well, Baker Mayfield's. The Texans covered as 5.5-point favorites. I believe this total was 48 and it went under.
I believe that is something like that, yeah.
I don't think I have it. Let's see. Yeah, 47.5.
47 and a half. So it did go under the total. It
Yeah, I
went
think I
to
have the
42.
Yep.
How we do?
Like Token was saying, both he and the producer had the over the 47.5 in this game. I actually bricked this. I took Cleveland plus the 5.5 because somebody on covers.com.
You took the free pick on Covers.
I was like, yeah, why not? Because I didn't know which way to go.
Don't you know the number one rule of gambling? Fade the free picks.
So, well, anyway, that's a lesson learned. Aaron Bink, Houston minus 5.5.
I'd like to propose, just because I've been thinking about it on these picks, at least this week, I think you should get a bonus half point next year if you're the only one to get some sort of the pick right.
Oh.
If we have 4 people guessing at it.
Because that'll also convince. I also believe we should have our picks. We should all have our picks separately put in. That
And
way,
somebody verify it before, yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Like we have our picks printed on a sheet, nobody's seen, and then that way we don't change them.
Oh, yeah.
Because
yeah.
now we're picking based on I can still pick on based on how you pick, or if we implement this system, if you both go with the same pick, I can just auto. I'm like, I'm going to fade it just because I need a half a point. And then we start getting into half points, which could be fun. We're going to have an in-depth system next year.
Yeah, next year is going to be very fun, very in-depth.
Plenty of rules and regulations.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
And next year, if we get this in-depth, y'all better pay out your bets.
All right.
The Texans have won 9 straight at this point. I wrote off the Texans before the season even started, so foot in my mouth.
Yeah, well, I had them.
You had them winning. Yeah.
I had them really contending. I thought.
You're still right.
I thought, what's his name? Shithead McGee, Deshaun Watson there.
Shithead McGee.
Yeah, I know. I just couldn't think of his name.
Deshaun Irish?
I have no reason to think that. I thought he would be an MVP candidate, and when they bricked their first 3 games, I kind of jumped off the bandwagon. But now, not only are they 9-3, their 4 remaining games
are
cake. And this is what worries me, because even though they have the tiebreaker with the Patriots have the tiebreaker against Houston based on their win at the beginning of the season. Houston's schedule is cake. New England still has to go into Pittsburgh. And even though Pittsburgh hasn't looked great the last couple of weeks, that's still going to be a dogfight.
Yeah.
So New England has to win out in order to maintain the number 2 seed. And I think they have to have that bye week to start the playoffs in order to make a Super Bowl run. I'm not confident New England can get in as a 3 seed.
Yeah, I agree with that. It will be a lot more difficult road not having that bye week to refresh your legs and all that they're used to, as well as execute a planned game plan. So,
and I'm looking. I don't know the tiebreakers between Tennessee and Houston, given that they split the series. What's the next tiebreaker?
Division record.
So at this point, it would be 1 loss for the Texans. I think the Colts. I think the Titans have a few more division losses, if I'm not mistaken. Anyways, point being is I believe next week Houston and Indianapolis would be, again, just on surface, I don't know 100%, but I believe that would be for the division next week too. So that could change things for New England, because if Houston goes to 10-3, they may take it off, take some, let Deshaun Watson maybe sit against the Eagles and the Jets.
I thought you said shit.
How old are you? Really?
29.
That's sad. It really is.
Depends what personality you're talking to.
You're a grown man. It's sad. Anyways, Jets-Titans. Titans should not have won this game. My Jets money line pick should have been fucking good. But, the JETS, you know what JETS stands for?
Just end their season.
Just end their season, because they need to be done. They're 3-9 now at this point. Titans 26-22 victory. They were down 16-0, and they just kept fighting, keep themselves into this playoff hunt. How do we do on this one? Because I know they did not do well.
Yeah, well, you only did. You only screwed it up because you took the Jets on the money line. If you had been with Token and I on the Jets plus the 10, then you would have been able to get the point. And the producer took under the total of 40.5, which didn't come in. Which also, I actually had the Jets plus 10 and the under as a parlay, which was one of my losses this weekend. But
yeah, this one you said it would be a close game, which it did, but you thought it'd be.
You were good until that last touchdown.
Yeah,
you thought it'd be a lot less scoring, though. You thought it'd be like 17-14, something around
exactly. That's exactly the type of game I expected out of this one. Still very close, just a little bit higher scoring than I would have liked to see.
Fair enough. I don't really have much to say about this one. Tennessee keeps their playoff hopes alive. They're sitting the 10th seed right now, but it's a 4-way tie for 6 and 6.
Yeah. Josh McCown putting up mediocre stats once again. 17 of 30, which ain't bad, but 128 yards, no scores, and a pick is just not ideal.
Yeah, you get teams like this, and I mean, I saw a little bit of this game. They get up 16-0, and it's all of a sudden they play prevent game. Like they're just like, all right, we're just content to run out the clock. It's like, you guys know touchdowns are worth 7, not 1. I mean, you're not that far ahead, 16-0. So, anyways, all right, let's move on to Chiefs and the Raiders, because this game was probably a little closer than some people anticipated, even
I think
despite
a lot of people anticipated.
even despite Kareem Hunt not being in this game. I believe, Spike, you said that would make the Chiefs play harder.
Well, yeah, to a certain degree, I expected that, and not only that, but I figured without the ground game, or at least without the strong ground game, I expected Mahomes. You know, he threw for 38 times. I expected his attempts to be closer to 50, and I think if that had happened, they probably would have run up the score a little bit more than they did here. I didn't think that Oakland would put up nearly as many points.
How'd we do?
So this was, let's see, the total was 55. Token going over the 55 gets a point for that one. Let's see, the producer had Kansas City money line as her lock of the week. So that's 3 points for her. Aaron, you actually took the Raiders plus 14, so you were good on that one, and I bricked it. Kansas City minus 14. And they just couldn't pull it off this time.
Yeah, Oakland's offense kind of screwed you over on that pick, but I mean,
Yeah.
they definitely put up more points than I even thought they would. But Chiefs, not too surprised that they put up 40 on Oakland's defense.
Yeah, but Derek Carr, 29 of 38 for 285 and 3 scores is always good.
Mm-hmm.
Jalen Richard and Muscle Hamster combining for about 150 some odd yards on the ground and a score. Yeah, that's a pretty good day for an Oakland team that has absolutely nothing to play for except draft picks.
Yeah, and it's crazy to think that, 150-something yards out of 2 guys that won't be on the team next year. But the real thing is that, like you said, we've talked about this all season, when one guy, falters, the next guy steps up. I mean, Pat Mahomes has 4 touchdowns. Travis Kelce, 12 for 168 and 2 touchdowns. The next leading receiver has 39 yards, and it's the backup tight end. I mean, Tyreek Hill, 1 catch, 13 yards. Spencer Ware has 47 yards on the ground. I mean, nothing really crazy on offense, especially, outside of Travis Kelce. And they still put up 40 points. I mean, this is just what they do.
Yeah, and that's the strength of the Chiefs, is that they're just able to run up the score. Their defense is not obviously up to snuff, but for the most part, it's not going to matter. They're just going to outscore you every single game.
Yeah. Now the question is, I mean, obviously we're only looking at a 1-game sample size, but 14 carries, 47 yards, 3.4 yards per carry. For Spencer Ware, that's not Kareem Hunt numbers. So how much is the quote-unquote lack of a running game potentially going forward going to be kind of the pain in the side for this team that, with Kareem Hunt, seemed to be the complete offense? Not the complete team, but the complete offense.
No, it makes them one-dimensional, and when you go up against a team like a Belichick-led defense that has seen quarterbacks and teams that are one-dimensional in the past, they're going to know how to stop them. And I think, Kansas City, while they should be excited, while they should be able to make a deep run in the playoffs, if they run into a good defense that can game plan to take away, say, Kelce, or to take away that number 1 threat, then that's going to be a major problem for Kansas City.
Yeah, you're right about that. The defenses coming in are going to use that game plan against them and try and stop them. The question is that enough to even try and stop them, though? I believe they can put up the firepower and put up crazy points still.
All right, we got Vikings-Pats. 24-10, typical Pats game. Nothing flashy. They win at home. They cover. They do what they need to do. Tom Brady, 311 yards and a touchdown. Kind of kept Minnesota's offense, this great offense that all they needed left was that quarterback missing piece. 201 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks.
Yeah,
$84 million for that.
I mean, Cousins wasn't terrible either, going 32 of 44. So that's
You tend to put a lot of emphasis on completion percentage.
I do, because I think it makes a difference, because if you're just out there slinging the ball around, like if you throw the ball 70 times but you only complete 35, you should be able to put up yards, but not necessarily if you can't stay on the field.
Yes, but if you complete 32 passes for a whopping 201 yards,
yeah, that's not great either.
on an average of 4.6 yards per attempt, that's the problem.
Yeah, no, I get that.
I don't know why. Even though he had a touchdown, I don't know why they've seemed to do this, but they have almost kind of forgotten about Adam Thielen in the offense. I mean, you're talking about a guy who went 8 straight games, or was it 9 straight games, with 100 yards receiving, and I believe the last 3 he's had less than 30 in all of them.
Yeah, I mean, this time around he had 10 targets, only 5 receptions. I believe a few of those were tight coverage and bad down balls. But
a few of them were fade routes, too.
Yeah.
I think it's the worst route in fucking football.
yeah, I think what really hurt Minnesota in this game was them not trying to run the ball against the New England defense and create that two-dimensional offense.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like they were down big early. They just never really decided to.
Yeah, I mean, only 13 carries rushing on the field, and
I mean, considering Dalvin Cook was, averaging 9 yards a carry.
I mean,
why they went away
big
from
run.
that?
Yeah, he had one big run, but besides that, I mean, you should have at least 20 total in this game, at least.
Yeah, it seemed like their game plan was to go against the secondary, and I actually think that New England has a pretty damn underrated secondary, all things
I agree
considered.
with that, yeah.
Yeah, I think Jason McCourty coming in is proving to pay dividends, especially considering Malcolm Butler, I believe, is the worst cornerback in football right now.
There was a stat, I believe, a couple weeks ago that said that he was, like a Pro Football Focus stat, that he was the worst cornerback in football. We talked about Thielen. Did you guys see the exchange between Thielen and Belichick?
Yes, that's... I love seeing that kind of competitiveness, especially the fire in Belichick when he takes it out on the opposing players is always hilarious to me.
I did think the timing was a little suspect, but hey, it is what it is. I also think that the referees got that call wrong, too, the 4th and inches.
Oh, yeah, they definitively did.
And did you see the call? Did you see what happened?
No, I did not see
Basically,
this
on 4th down, Latavius Murray, I thought, was stuffed short. The referees ruled it a first down, so Patrick Chung took it upon himself to fall down and be injured. So the officials took a timeout for injury so that the Patriots staff could look at the film to see if they wanted to challenge it or not. Which was surprising. They didn't even challenge it. Is that even a challengeable call? I would assume it is. A spot.
Yes.
Yeah,
ball spot.
you can challenge it, but that's probably the very unlikely one to be overturned percentage-wise throughout the whole NFL is the rolling of the spot on the
I thought it was definitively short. Did you?
Yeah, no, it never looked like he made the line to gain. And
It never looked like he made. Yeah, he looked like he was stopped before he even got to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, he should have been probably about a half yard short in that. It was just a bad call, a bad spot, and the refs couldn't find an angle on the replays to definitively turn it over. It's just, just one of those greasy things that is going to happen in the NFL sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't end up affecting obviously the overall nature of the game, but to me, Adam Thielen did not take too kindly to it, so he decided to walk over to Belichick, and we don't know what he said, but we know what Belichick said.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. And the press conference after the game, somebody asked Belichick if that was just 2 competitive guys exchanging holiday pleasantries, and Belichick said, yeah, that's about right.
Shitter's full.
What does that mean?
What, shitter's full?
I know what it means, but how does that come up right now?
It's a classic line.
Yeah, that has no bearing on what we're talking about.
Shit talking's full.
Oh, nice stretch. All right. See, how do we do in that one?
Let's see. The producer went over the total at 49.5. So that's a brick. We were consensus New England -5, bringing our consensus record to 6-4 on the season.
All right,
We're not
we're not just paying the juice anymore. We are actually officially making money on our consensus picks.
Yeah.
All right, 49ers Seahawks. I did not watch a single snap of this game, and by the look of it, I'm okay with that because the Seahawks ran over the 49ers 43-16, improving them to 7-5.
Mullins had 414 yards.
414. Jesus Christ.
Improving to 7-5, and actually, the Seattle Seahawks, the season ended today,
They beat the 5th seed, right?
are the 5 seed.
Yeah.
Yep. Man, I think a lot of people wrote them off when they were 3-3, or I think they started the season 0-2 as well.
I believe so, yeah.
And they've been 7-3 since. And like I said, if the season ended today, they're actually in a really good spot as well because as the 5 seed, they can no longer win the NFC West, which means they have to be playing hard, and they get a team in the Los Angeles Rams who, depending on how the next few weeks go with the Saints and them, may or may not have to play hard. Not only do they have a schedule that's favorable, minus the Chiefs, they also have a team in front of them that's clinched that may not have to be in the way at that point. So they got Vikings, 49ers, Chiefs, and Cardinals. 2 very winnable games. One could go either way, and then obviously they have the Chiefs, which would be tough. At least they get them at home on a Sunday night right before Thanksgiving, right before Christmas. How do we do in this game?
This actually would have been consensus, including the producer, except Token decided to go lock of the week Seattle money line. But Aaron, myself, the producer, all took Seattle minus the 10, and Aaron, you actually took it as your blind bet, so you got the extra point for that one.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
See any reason why Seattle would not make the playoffs at this point?
Look,
I mean, I think
way
they're
playing right now, I don't see them not getting in.
I mean, what do we think is going to make the playoffs in the NFC? 9-7? That will be at worst 6 seed. You have Washington 6-5.
10-6 should get you in. 9-7 might borderline. Depends how many teams are 9-7 at the point. It could be down to tiebreakers.
But 9-7 will get you in.
9-7 should get you in.
Unless it's 9-6-1 from Minnesota.
It's true.
Which would be super annoying for certain teams, but that might do it.
Mm-hmm. Well, that Viking, and now actually that Viking Seattle game might be a little more important than.
I think it is. I think the winner of that game coming up is going to be in the playoffs. The loser is more than likely going to miss out.
I think you've said that about every matchup, though. You said that about the Chargers at 9-3.
Yeah.
That matchup's 3 weeks away, so there's a lot that could happen at that point too. Speaking of Chargers, or the Clippers as you like to call them,
Yes.
that was a hell of a comeback.
Yeah, that was what was that? 30 straight points in the 26 straight points in the second half.
Well, the Steelers got a touchdown to tie it up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
20.
But it was 19 straight points to go ahead, 30-23, because it was 23-7 I think at halftime.
Yeah,
It was
23-7 at the half.
Yeah, 23-7 at half, and they scored. Was that 23 straight points?
Yeah.
Crazy. 9-3 Chargers now, 7-4-1 Steelers, who are still leading that division. Yeah, right there.
Yeah.
This is the kind of things that make me kind of. I get bummed out. Not that I'm a Charger fan or anything, but the fact that they're 9-3, and they're going to have to go on the road if the season ended today, and Pittsburgh 7-4-1 would get to host a game.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a little wonky. People have talked about trying to change the way the NFL playoff picture is, but I don't think that's going to happen because
Not probably in our lifetime.
The thing is, I still think the divisional aspect's fine and the conferences are fine, but even same thing with like basketball, and basketball does it a little differently, but you want the best teams in, like when the year that Patriots got shut out. It's like, if you're 9-3, you should be, I don't know what their tiebreakers would be with Houston and New England, but you should be one of the top 4 seeds. You should not be the 5th seed, but it is what it is. It's not going to change. There's no sense in going on some dialogue rant about it, but nevertheless, Chargers covered as 3-point dogs in this spot, and I'm pretty sure the total went over because I think it was 53.
Yeah, it was actually 51.5, but it
51.5.
didn't matter. I mean, it was safe no matter what. But yeah, this was actually, we were all on a different side of this game. Token and the producer were both on, or against the spread. Token taking Pittsburgh minus the 3, the producer taking the Clippers plus the 3.
All the overs you took. You didn't take this one?
Yeah.
And Aaron and I were both on the total. Aaron taking the under, I took the over.
Bummer. All right, well, where do we go from here? Let's look at the
Super Bowl
bold
picks?
predictions.
Oh, yeah, bold.
Yeah, so you want to do that because you actually got yours correct.
No, I don't have anything to say about this game. I mean, the Steelers blew it.
Yeah.
What do you want to talk about?
It's the first loss with them leading at 14 or more at
Yeah,
half.
weren't they like 220-0?
Something. They had 2 ties, but I'm sure those were before the
It was
50s.
the stat was they were 220-0-2 when leading at home by 14 points plus at any point in the game.
Wow. Well, I mean, that's a tribute to Phillip Rivers, I guess. But
Yeah, and actually, I even thought about it. In this spot, I figured this might be a spot where the Rivers and company lay down and die. This is a classic letdown scenario for the Chargers. But
No, they did on all sides of the ball, special teams, offense, defense, and
Derwin James looked good this week too, or tonight too. Had a few good stops and a nice pick at timely manner when the Steelers were in the red zone. Kind of kept them in. All right, that's really all I have to say about that because there was not much. I mean, as much as offense and everything there was, it's just Chargers had a great comeback. All right, fine. Now we can go to bold predictions, since I wasn't allowed to do it 25 seconds ago. He can sit here and go, I got this right, I got that right. But I say, hey, let's do bold predictions. There's natural succession of the podcast. Oh, it's quick loading.
error pops up.
yeah.
You got a virus on your computer.
Oh
now.
no! Oh no! The laptop crashed. No. All right. So,
Oh, don't worry, I remember him.
do you remember the producers?
Yeah, hers is still in play.
Yeah.
Butt fumble completes a pass.
Yeah.
We will see if that happens. I'm not holding out too much hope for that one.
Who knows? At this point, he might be in there right now.
Yeah.
I bricked mine. I said New England and Minnesota were combined for about 950 yards, or over 950 yards of offense.
They didn't even come close.
No, they were like 780 something. Like I mean,
okay.
there were enough yards in this game. It's just New England did most
More
of the
than I
heavy
thought,
lifting.
but yeah.
Yeah. So that didn't quite work. Token, you said that Stafford wouldn't finish the game either by being benched or injured by Ndamukong Suh.
Yeah.
Not quite.
Well, it seemed like he wasn't in there. Mentally.
Yeah, I don't think that counts.
No.
But Aaron actually hit his, saying that Andrew Luck had 3 touchdowns or more in just about every game he had played this season. You said he would not complete that, or not get 3 touchdowns in this game, and you were correct. Probably not the way that you thought you'd be correct.
No.
I don't think you thought he'd put up a nothing burger.
And actually, I didn't think you would give me that as my bold prediction, so I was actually going to sweeten the pot and say he would throw for 1 or less. That was going to be my next suggestion. So I did actually only think he would throw for 1 touchdown in this game. So it still worked out.
Yeah,
'Cause I didn't think you guys would give me that bold prediction.
I thought he was good for 3.
I thought I had no doubt in my mind he was going to put up at least 3 in this game.
So, fair enough.
Oops.
So that gets me an extra point, which I
Oops.
desperately needed because apparently Spike did well.
Yes.
How did we do?
So, in last place this week was Token, getting 1 point thus far. Again, the Monday night games are still in play. Aaron, you had 3 points, including the bold prediction coming in. I am currently sitting on 10 points for the week.
How'd the producer do?
The producer had a -1.
All right, so nobody can lose to the.
So nobody can lose.
Nobody can lose to the producer. Token may tie because they are on opposite sides of the total right now. But a tie doesn't mean anything for our beat the
I
producer.
feel like it should.
I was just thinking that it probably should. Like you should have. If we're calling it beat the producer or beat the guest, it should be beating
the
the
guest.
guest. Yeah, tying shouldn't be. But I mean, we didn't.
We
put
didn't
that
set
rule.
that parameter yet.
Yeah.
Because I lost to the Canadian, and he's going to lose to a girl.
Yeah.
Well,
And
Which is worse? Both know nothing about football and betting. Well, they know betting, but
Yeah, I don't know. It's about even.
I think next week may be worse because my wife has volunteered
yes.
to come
Nice.
in as the guest picker for next week. She was actually excited about it, and then I said, all right, you have to do it against the spread. And then she got pissed. I'm like, it's too late. You've already agreed.
Yeah.
So-
She's allowed to have one favorite against the spread.
Yeah, she gets the one money line.
Yeah,
or she could do a whole bunch of dogs. See?
but she doesn't know sports betting at all, so
That should be interesting.
trying to go against the
She'll
spread.
probably sweep us all.
It's not her forte, yeah. She's kicking
But
my
the
ass.
following week, we should have your dogs do the picks and put out 2 bowls.
There we go. We'll have the dogs do it. Whatever bowl they eat out of, that's the pick. That's their pick.
Yeah.
I'm sure they would enjoy that.
That would be fun. I feel like that would take a long time. That would be very time consuming.
Yeah.
We wouldn't do that live on the air, right? We would do that pre-show.
Oh, yeah, we would have to.
Yeah, otherwise it would be pretty noisy. It's pretty noisy on the show anyhow.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
But that's just
usually it's me having snacks.
I was going to say, that's either me or you munching away.
So, all right. Well, let's move on to our Super Bowl picks. At this point, I don't even know who I have. Pittsburgh and I have Los Angeles.
That's correct.
I'm going to stay for right now. Mm-hmm. Token has the Bears and the Rams.
No.
I'm gonna stay with
No?
that.
How could you have the Bears and the Rams?
The Bears and the Chiefs.
Nope.
No?
No. Bears and Patriots.
That's correct.
Oh, fuck, I don't remember.
Bears and Patriots. I'm staying with that.
I still want odds on the Bears versus the field. What are the Bears to make the Super Bowl right now?
It might be off right now since there's a game tomorrow, but let me see.
And what about
Yeah,
yours?
fired up. So I currently have the Saints and the Patriots, and like I said, I think that playoff matchup, New England in danger of getting a 3rd seed, worries me a little too much. I am switching over. I am going to ride the Mahomes train. I am switching from the Patriots to the Kansas City Chiefs.
Fair enough. So you another $1 in the bank?
Yep, another buck. So we each owe $2 right now.
Yeah. Bears right now to win the Super Bowl 15-1 on William Hill. Half would be for the NFC Championship.
Wait, say that again?
Like half odds for NFC Championship,
Oh, yeah.
so plus 750.
Do I want to give him a bet?
Ooh.
I want to take the field. I'd have to give you better than 15-1 because I get every other team.
While you think of that, I will update everybody on how we have done on our lock of the week to this point in the season.
Oh, each of our lock of the week?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I've been keeping track of our record on those. I am currently sitting at 7-5, which is not ideal.
Our lock of the weeks probably our records probably had to get better after being able to do.
We've only been doing that for 2 weeks, though.
Oh, sure.
Realistically, we've only been doing it for the last 2 weeks.
Okay.
Aaron, you're at 7-4-1. And Token is actually crushing us right now, 9-2-1 on his lock.
I knew I was the best with the lock
Yeah.
of the weeks because I started off strong in the season.
Yeah, unbelievable.
All right. You guys want to play a game?
Sure.
Why not?
All right. So I'm thinking for a game for points because Lord knows we need them, and we don't have enough ways to get them. I say we predict the 6 seeds, 1 through 6, in both the AFC and the NFC for who will make the playoffs at the end of the season.
All right.
You got to get this team right in the right seed to get a point each. What do you guys think?
I like it.
That works.
All right. So I think what we'll do is we'll start with the AFC, and we'll each say our number 1 seed, and then we'll just go from there all the way down to the NFC's 6th seed.
All right.
All right, I'll start with the AFC.
Cool.
My number 1 seed, New England.
All right.
That is mine as well.
I am not nearly as optimistic. I'm going to say Kansas City.
All right, fair enough. My number 2 seed in the AFC. Ready for a bombshell?
Typing it in already because I know what you're going to say.
All right, what?
Just say it.
It's probably the same as mine.
The Los Angeles Chargers.
Oh.
Said another team that was 9-3. I said the Texans.
Yeah, I think the Texans make more sense here.
All right, number 3 seed. I'll take the Texans.
I said Chiefs.
This is where I have my beloved New England Patriots.
You really think they're going to be the 3 seed, huh?
Yeah, I am so worried about that game against Pittsburgh. And I think Houston runs the table. So
You think they're going to win 13 straight games, huh?
I think they go 13-3. I think New England finishes 12-4.
Wow. All right, 4 seed, I have Pittsburgh.
I have Baltimore.
Nice. Like this guy.
Wow. Steelers.
All right. 5 seed, I have Kansas City.
I have the Clippers.
I have the Clippers there too.
I think that game, they got to go to Kansas City. I just feel like they're going to win it. I don't know why. I feel like they're going to win it. I like the way their defense plays.
All right.
And that's going to determine the division. All right, 6 seed.
This is where it's going to get funky, I think.
Who do you think I have?
I have no idea who you have.
Oh, I thought you meant.
For me, it makes sense because based on who I have winning as the 4 seed.
Yeah, I think that we're all going to be weird.
Mine's different from yours, is because
yours is going to be Pittsburgh.
yes.
Mine is Denver.
Oh, fuck, that's who I have. God damn it.
And I took the Steelers. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on Denver there. I think that makes sense.
All right, NFC 1, I have Los Angeles.
I have the Rams as well.
Yeah, that's consensus.
2 seed, I have New Orleans.
Same here.
Yeah, that's consensus.
3 seed, Cowboys.
Ooh.
I have the Bears.
Whoops. Yeah, Bears.
4 seed, I have the Bears.
4 seed. I have the Redskins.
Wow.
How the fuck am I getting the same things as Token here? Yeah, give me the Skins.
5 seed, Seahawks.
Vikings.
That's going to be a big matchup for us. I think they play each other in 2 weeks. Or next week.
Yeah.
I have, fuck. I actually forgot the Vikings exist.
I thought you wrote them down.
I did write them down.
And then you...
I forgot that Vikings. Yeah, no, I'm gonna fuck it. I'll stick with these Cowboys.
6 seed.
I have the Vikings in the 6th seed.
I have Seattle.
I also have Seattle. So Token and I are on the same thing in the NFC except for the 5 seed.
Wow. It's going to suck for you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, there we go. We have our playoff seeding set. Hopefully mine look better than your alls do because I need some points.
Yeah, you're hoping that NFC's all dazed and confused compared to ours.
Actually, I think I'm hoping the AFC's dazed and confused. I think my NFC is pretty status quo right now, with the exception of the Cowboys and Bears being flipped. I mean, the 6th seed right now in the NFC.
I have the Cowboys out. I think the road ahead of them can be a little tricky.
I think they have the easiest remaining schedule. To be honest with you, they have the Eagles at home where they're really good. They have to go and beat the Colts, which is probably their toughest game. Then they have the Bucks at home and the Giants on the road to finish it. I don't know. I think they have the easiest of all those teams left. Chicago. Man, they have a tough schedule left. To be honest with you, they got the Rams, which would put them at 8-5 if they lose. And then I think there's a potential. Any chance we see that Vikings game means something for the division at the end? At Vikings, December 30th. I mean, let's just say basically, the Bears play the Packers at home. Do we really think the Packers would try in that game?
Oof. I don't know.
Probably not.
I don't know. For a division game, I think they're more likely to.
So let's just say, let's say they lose to the Rams at home. Let's say they beat the Packers, beat the 49ers. That puts them at 10-5. And then you have the Vikings in that spot. Let's see where they at. They're 6-5-1. If they run the table, what does that put them at? Which would be tough. If they run the table, that would put them at 9-5-1. If they beat the Bears, they go to 10-5-1 and win the division. And I mean, if they can get past the Seahawks, they got Dolphins and Lions, 2 beatable games. Any chance we think that matters? Week 17 for the division?
I think so.
Think so?
I think the Bears come through.
Yeah, I guess it could. I don't know. I
Be interesting.
yeah.
I think they meet again in the what would be the NFC Championship, possibly.
Hey, aren't the Bears your 3 seed?
Yeah,
And the Vikings are your 6 seed?
5.
Oh.
So it would have to be the NFC Championship. I don't think the Vikings would make it that far, but the Bears, I could see that.
You see the Cowboys.
I see the Cowboys missing the playoffs. Potentially.
I'll take that bet.
$5.
I feel like $5. All right, that's cool. $5. All right, let's wrap it up here. Got anything else going on? Close up shop on week 13.
Yeah, a lot of interceptions this week. A lot of games came under, but this was another week of good football.
Yeah, I mean, typical week for the Lions.
Typical week for the Lions.
Yeah, hang in there and then just interception for a touchback.
Fair enough. All right, well, we want to thank the sponsors, 12-Ounce Sports Radio, VGK Pop Sockets, and ChaiPoker.com. We'll be having Ben and the guys from Chai Poker on here probably in the next week or two to recap how the charity tournament went over at South Point on December 1st.
Do we know who won that, by the way?
I do. 8 people won it.
Oh.
They had an 8-way chop.
Okay.
So, anyway, like I said, we appreciate you tuning in. Hopefully, we will be back here shortly. When's our next podcast? Thursday. So,
Yeah.
We'll be on Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday. We also are going to have a bowl selection show, prop bet podcast as well. So that one's going to be fun. Probably about as good as our March Madness one was. I think we need to take the next couple of days to devise a system. I always like the, what do they call it, the confidence scale. But basically you take each bowl, make your pick, and you rank your confidence. It used to be 30 bowls. So your most confident pick was 30, and your least confident, or excuse me, your most confident pick was 1, your least confident pick was 30, and if you got it right, you got the points awarded to it. So, well, we'll see. It'll be fun. We'll have to do that here before the bowl season starts. Anyways, thanks for listening. We will catch you on the next episode.